Hello. So today I am going to try something new and record this next podcast episode I'll be launching live. Just because it's going to be just me, so I can do it that way. And I wanted to see just what you guys thought about it. Especially since you guys can put in your comments and I can answer them, and I'm sure other people will also have those questions, so they will be right in the podcast episode, anything that you guys have. So today we are talking about confidence boosting habits. So as women, we are more prone to naturally have all of these habits that go against our confidence. They really work against what we're trying to do. And unfortunately, yes, it is, as women, that it does make it a little bit harder for us versus men. So just because of all the hormones and everything like that, you guys know how it goes, right? So a lot of common problems, if you guys have any common problems that really, hold on, I'm going to close this door. She's too loud. Now she'll probably start crying about it. All right, so if you guys have any questions that you know of that go against what, like, they kind of fight you when you're trying to boost your self-confidence, go ahead and add them. But the biggest ones that I know of that affect a lot of women are making decisions, perfection, some sort of presentation, whether it's for work or just speaking at a wedding, or there it is. 1 second. Go eat. Your show stopped. Children. All right. So, and speaking up, so if you are at some sort of conference, let's say, conference, or even just a work meeting, and you had an idea or a question for clarification, we have a tendency to not even speak up about that, just because in our head we start second-guessing ourselves and worry about what other people are going to think. That's also, I guess, a whole nother problem, is worrying what other people are going to think. So I have a lot of tips that I have been researching this topic for a very long time, and these are what I could narrow it down to, 12 tips to help you with boosting that self-confidence. Some of them are things that you can do daily, and some of them are things for you to just start thinking about, keep in the back of your head for whenever the time arises. So first tip is to start pumping out a bunch of projects and stop worrying about the perfection. It's going to help with mastery on this, because when we fail, we learn. So you need to just start pumping out. So at work, a lot of studies were done that men don't really focus on the perfection typically, and they just put out a bunch of little projects, and whatever sticks, whatever doesn't, they forget about, sort of thing. So it really, failing is how we also boost our self-confidence. So by doing these a bunch of little projects and little pitches, the little failures help us learn, which end up boosting our self-confidence because we know more. If that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't, you can ask. But that's the best way to put it. So you're just going to do a bunch of little ideas and put them out there and not really worry about having every little piece perfected. And you're going to allow other people to collaborate on that, or whatever needs to be done to really just fine tune it. But you want to get that idea out there, whether it gets accepted or not. And then if it doesn't, you're just gonna, it's not you as a person, it's just that idea. So you need to not take it too personal and just kind of let it go and then look at, okay, what did I learn from this? So that learning opportunity is what really boosts our self-confidence. The next second topic is to just take action. Leave your comfort zones. You might want to just start small with this. So whatever your biggest fear is, I guess you could say. So if it's making decisions, start small. So the next time your husband or boyfriend asks you what you want for dinner, just make a decision and stick to it. And those little steps that you take will kind of snowball effect and build into bigger opportunities. So if it is about perfection, maybe do that first tip and just put out a project out there that isn't 100% picture perfect, because we know that it isn't going to be anyways. So just go for it. If it is just speaking up to other, in rooms full of other people, just to ask questions, not necessarily giving presentations, or just talking to people in general, you can, maybe one please, thank you. You can just go to a little mixer that's being held in your area, or go to a coffee shop and just strike up a conversation with somebody. And what you're going to do is just focus on what they are telling you and what to be asking them, and you will slowly start to forget that I'm here, don't really know any of these people, and I'm talking to somebody. Like, you're just going to kind of forget about it. So really focus in on that conversation. So you could also do that by, even if you want to take your friends to a little gathering, but what you want to do is kind of maybe break away a little bit from your friends, just so that way you can get that experience, but they're there for that support if you need it. The next tip is that ruminative thinking, which I talked about this in another episode. It's essentially negative thinking. So it's thinking about past situations and such in a negative way. But it is our own enemy, especially as women. We are prone to doing this. Ruminative thinking causes us to ultimately not act. So it stems from our natural ability to notice everything going on around us, and we just start thinking about every scenario that could possibly happen, and it just freezes the action. And the confidence part that we need is to actually take the action to begin with. So you just need to kind of cut off the ruminative thinking. Once you notice the thoughts starting, you're going to start telling yourself 3 things that you've done well. So if you need to, write them down and just have them in your pocket. So once the ruminative thinking starts, you want to repeat those 3 things that you've done well. So maybe if you want some for work, some for home life, like, because this happens to just being a mom too. Just have these things that you've done well and just repeat them to yourself once the ruminative thinking starts. So if you don't really fully notice when you're having these ruminative thinking thoughts, that you can start taking a journal, because typically, like, at night before you go to bed, that's kind of when everything starts spiraling out of control, and you're just like, starts with an innocent thought, but builds from there. So what you're going to do is start taking a journal at night, just because if you did it all day, you would just be writing all day. So take journal at night, write down your thoughts that you go through, and do it for like 2 or 3 days. So then you can kind of see like, oh, it might start as like something innocent, but it can kind of really get out of hand quick. So that way you can kind of catch yourself like, oh, okay, so I didn't do something at work. I didn't eat fully clean like I was planning on doing. I'm a terrible person, blah, blah, and you go out of control from there. So once that, oh, I had a candy bar today starts, be like, you're just going to take that thought and switch it around to something positive, but not in a way that will, it doesn't have to just prove that thought wrong, because I mean, most likely it probably isn't wrong, so you don't want to prove it wrong, because it kind of goes against what really happened, so you're just not going to believe the positive thing. So you're just going to reframe it into a positive situation. So I ate a candy bar today, but everything else I did was on point. I hit everything. I hit all my water intake. I went to the gym, all this. So just kind of reframe your thinking into a more positive one will also boost your self-confidence. And if you really don't know how, just try it, and you'll start to see how much it does affect your self-confidence. Then my next tip is to start changing your focus from on yourself to others. So a lot of women have this tendency to over prepare for situations. So if you have say you're giving a presentation and you're the head of your team for work, so you're giving the presentation on what you've done as a team. You want to prepare for it, but then stop. Once you have prepared, just kind of stop there. Don't start worrying about, oh, my hair, oh, my makeup, oh, what am I going to wear? And think about how it's going to benefit your company and your team. And it will kind of take all of that self-confidence and keep it where it's at instead of bringing it down. Because instead of focusing on you and what you could do wrong, you're going to think about how it's benefiting other people. And a lot of studies have shown that women really do perform a lot better when they're thinking in the we instead of me. So another example, I guess, is maybe you are I give a lot of work examples. I want to give like another example for you guys. So maybe, let's see, how do you over prepare as, all right, you're going to go on a trip with your family. And I know a lot of women do this. So you're going to take a trip with your family. It might be like a overnight trip, or it might be like a day trip. And you're getting everything ready, but you kind of start that over preparing process, and it just kind of ruins your day in a way until you actually get there, because then you have a little bit more fun. But it'll end up kind of ruining it. Instead of having a great time, you're going to be constantly thinking, oh, did I do this? Did I do this? Why didn't I do this? Oh, I don't know if I remembered this. And just focus on how it's going to benefit your family to have this time together. So that can also really help with your self-confidence, because self-confidence isn't necessarily professionalism, it is your entire life. So just personal life, professional life, all of it. It really does affect everything, and you're going to have different levels of self-confidence for different scenarios. So you want to kind of work on everything. Next tip is, all right, this is going to be really hard to wrap your head around, but start boasting more and criticizing yourself less. We have a tendency to downplay our achievements, and when you do that, your subconscious hears, oh, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this recognition. I don't deserve that reward, anything like that. And we just need to start learning, oh, I got a compliment, so I'm going to say thank you. Or, thank you, I really appreciate that. And then end it there. So we kind of have to start learning to give ourselves, we need to learn to be able to give ourselves a pat on the back, because obviously nothing ever is going to be done perfect, and especially because we are our own worst critics. So we're going to be able to pick ourselves apart whenever we do something, but really it isn't as bad as what you thought it was. So just start boasting more and criticizing yourself less. Just play up all your strong points, all of your successes, and stop tearing them apart, but piece by piece. That will do a huge thing for your self-confidence as well. Next is to speak up. And that, I mean, literally, start speaking. She's doing. So everyone at some point in their life is going to have to make some sort of public speaking something, whether it's through work, through a club that you're in, you're going to have to give something to, it might be just a small group, but it's still public speaking. Or even if you are a maid of honor at a wedding. So you want to start practicing your public speaking abilities. And by doing that and learning it, it'll increase your confidence in doing it well. So you won't get all of the nerves when you have to go do it. Practicing this doesn't necessarily have to be signing up to go do public speaking things, but maybe join a speaking club of some sort, or maybe start a group with other people and even just speaking through Skype on some sort of topic, or just reading a book and giving your opinion on it through Skype, or even in person in a coffee shop. It's those little things that will help you. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So really practice speaking up. Next, the next ones are stuff that you can do all day and every day, and I put most of them into my daily routines of some sort. I highly recommend doing a morning routine, just because when you wake up, you aren't necessarily, if you wake up late, you're running late, but you aren't necessarily running late and have things already added to your schedule. It's just easier to get things done first thing in the morning than later in the day when, oh, I'm exhausted, or I still haven't finished XYZ. I'm going to push that off, because that's one of the things that we kind of push to the side first. So if you do your self-care stuff in your morning, making it a morning routine, you'll be more likely to do it every day, or at least most days. So first is stop comparing yourself to others. And this is huge, and I know you hear it a lot, but it doesn't stick in our heads for some reason. And you really need to just tell yourself, like, hey, we are all in different places for different reasons. It's okay that I am 25 and don't have my degree yet, that I'm still going to school. It's okay that I'm 33 and I'm not married yet. It's okay that I'm 40 and don't have a house. It's gonna all work out, and everything has its own time, and it's different for everybody. So you really need to stop comparing yourself to others, because it's one of those things that brings about that ruminative thinking and starts breaking down your self-confidence. And the things that go along with that would be to stop thinking what other people are going to think about something. It kind of goes hand in hand there. Don't think to yourself, oh, well, I can't ask this question in this room of people because they might think that I am inexperienced or are unknowledgeable and I'm not good enough for this job. When really there's probably other people that have that question, or they didn't even think of it, and it is a really, really good question. So just take that action. Stop comparing yourself and stop wondering what other people are going to think about it. Just take that step. Next, we're on 8, if you guys are writing this down. Number 8, meditate. It helps calm your brain and train your brain to do all of those rewiring tactics that I've talked about. So it will really, really help you be able to take a step back and say, hey, I need to read these 3 things that I did really good. Or, hey, I need to figure out the positive in this situation. And it's not going to happen right away, but if you really practice every day, it does make a difference. There's lots of ways to learn how to meditate. If you need some ideas, let me know. But it really does end up making a difference. And if you've never meditated before or done yoga, maybe try doing yoga first, just because it's a little bit easier to get started into, and it kind of paves the way for the meditation. But that's my tip for that. But it does really, really help with your self-confidence, because you're able to, it aids in the rewiring process that you have to go through. Number 9, practice gratitude. I talk about this every time I have an episode on my own. Gratitude. It's in my morning routine. It's in my night routine. Gratitude. It changes your mindset into a positive mindset. Instead of thinking about all of the bad things that happened, by ending your day with all the bad things that happened that day, you kind of sit and think, okay, well, what was really good? So what I like to do is, for my gratitude portion of my daily routine, in the morning I do at least 1, at most 3, just intentions for the day, how I want to feel throughout the day. And then at night, before you go to bed, do a list of 3 to 5 things that really... Hey, you gotta stop. You have the TV. You're not throwing books. You're not even reading them. So take 3 to 5 things at night before you go to bed of things that you were grateful for that day, things that were good, positive, went well. It might not have gone the best, but it still turned out good. So that will also help you to start rewire your brain to be more positive, which ends up helping your self-confidence. Number 10, break the situations down that start to feel overwhelming. So things that can feel overwhelming, the list is forever long, right? So anything that you just kind of, you encounter it and you kind of just freeze and be like, I don't even know where to start. I have no idea how to go about this. And like, it just like, you don't even know if it's even possible to do anything remotely close to what you're supposed to do. You're going to start breaking it down. Break it down into manageable chunks. So that way you can take it piece by piece. And then when you finish that, it is an instant confidence booster because, hey, you just accomplished something that you never thought you'd be able to do. I don't even have an example. Let me think. I really need to start maybe scripting things a little bit more. Well, I'm going to go back to a work situation, I guess, just because they're my best examples. So you have a project that your boss needs you to do, and you're like, that isn't even a thing. What are you talking about? So you're going to break it down into manageable chunks. So first maybe is going to be research on it a little bit. And then next from there, you can start building, okay, I need to do A, B, C, and tackle them one at a time in order to make this happen. And that's the best example I have, guys. I'm sorry. All right, so number 11, sleep and exercise and having a support system. What? I've never talked about this before. Just kidding. So all of these things are really scientific studies that I've been reading. They are proven and linked to boost your mood, your confidence, and it's your confidence linked. It's the hormones that are linked to your confidence. So it raises those levels. So sleep, getting enough sleep. Obviously, just good for you in general. Exercise, same thing, but it also boosts those levels of that are linked to your self-confidence. And there's lots and lots of hormones linked to self-confidence, to your confidence. And having friend time is super important for your confidence. Even if you are extremely introverted, still make time at least once a month, guys, once a month. Get coffee with your girlfriends. If you don't have girlfriends, you have Facebook friends. I know you do. So hit somebody up in your town and just start making girlfriends. I can do a whole episode on that by itself. But having that support system is a huge confidence booster, not only because, hey, they have your back, but also because hanging out with them is proven to boost those hormones. And having that time is just in and of itself a huge confidence boost. So we can do a whole episode on building your tribe at another time if you would like. But our last tip for the day is practice authenticity. So that fake it till you make it saying really isn't 100% true, because as women, we have a tendency to, so if you're faking it, you're kind of going to be like, I'm not being truthful, so somebody's going to find me out, and you kind of start that downward slope of losing your self-confidence. So faking it till you make it isn't necessarily 100% true. It's true to take that first step because you probably aren't actually faking it. You just don't have that self-confidence at the moment to take that first step. But after that, you want to practice authenticity. Because always hiding your flaws isn't a good thing. Your flaws really do help you shine because you can get past those flaws. And our strengths don't make up all of who we are. So the authenticity is just kind of owning who you are and doing it anyways. And that is a humongous confidence booster, guys. So those are all my tips. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you're going to end up listening on the podcast, because I'm going to have more content to the podcast episode, just drop it on my Facebook page or message me or the Instagram or Twitter. Just put it out there, the question, and I will hopefully find you and be able to answer. But I would love your feedback or be able to help you in any way I can, because that is exactly why I started this to begin with. But that is all of my confidence boosting habits for you guys, and I hope that you had at least one tip that is really going to help you. But we just really need, as women, need to start boosting our self-confidence, because it is a huge part of everything we do in life. Everything. So boosting that self-confidence is going to help you tremendously. But go ahead and join that Create Yourself podcast group, and we can get you hooked up with other women to create any groups that you need to, or get you any help that you need. And I look forward to getting to know all of you a little bit more. But have a great rest of your day.